Day 124 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. My name's Josh Bloom. I'm just trying to help myself. Some people are garbage people. I am not referring to the members of the band Garbage, but if you are a fan, stick around. When I was growing up, there was a boy my age named Ryan White who contracted HIV/AIDS from a blood transfusion when he was 13. He wasn't allowed to attend class anymore and was bullied, attacked, and called all sorts of slurs that you could imagine he was called. I remembered this suddenly today, and it reminded me of realizing 40 years ago when I was also 13 how there are garbage people among us who will attack a child at their most vulnerable, fearful, and desperate moments. There is a positive point I am making here. Most people are not garbage people, but unfortunately we shine a light on garbage people too often, maybe now more than ever, because we can see every garbage person on social media. Every garbage person seems to like to be seen, but I'm telling you, the majority of people are not garbage people. Now, some people are garbage people adjacent, and they tolerate garbage people. They encourage garbage people, or they are just passive in regard to garbage people. It doesn't make them garbage people. It makes them more like litter people. But most people are good people in that they want good for other people and they want good for themselves. Maybe it's natural, maybe it's nurtural, maybe it's that they notice contrast, and that is why there needs to continue to be a light shined on people like the leader of the Trump administration and the Trump administration to remind us that these garbage and garbage adjacent people are out there. People who can't just disagree, but have to disagree and then try to force people they disagree with to agree with them. Not to persuade them, but to force them. And if they cannot force them, then they try to make their lives miserable. That is truly the definition of a garbage person. I don't respect those people. I have much more respect for an actual garbage person. They have to ride around on the back of that truck and handle your trash, which is a dangerous thing to be doing. Then they have to have metaphorical garbage people treating them like metaphorical garbage people treated Ryan White, who did nothing wrong and was a child experiencing his most vulnerable, fearful, and desperate moments. Actual garbage people are more professional than the leader of the Trump administration and the Trump administration. They would never ignore their actual garbage, but I encourage them to ignore the garbage that we call the Trump administration. Day 125 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. I guess you could say I'm just trying to help myself. Some people are garbage people. Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yesterday's video brought out the garbage people. It is fascinating to me that it brought out the garbage people, the irony, the tragedy, the reality of how it brought out the garbage people on all platforms, exactly like I was talking about on day 124 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. But no mention whatsoever of the fact that most of the video is about how most people are not garbage people. No mention whatsoever either of Ryan White, the boy who, at 13, contracted HIV/AIDS from a blood transfusion. It was national news. I was also 13 at the time, so I related to the fact that this child was being bullied, harassed, persecuted, and made to feel even lower during the lowest moment of his short life. No mention of any of these things. Just confirmation of what I pointed out about how some people are garbage people. But once again, there is a bright light in all of this. I remain optimistic, hopeful, and confident in the goodness of people. Most people are not garbage people. Turbo, Ozone, Kelly, not garbage people. This goodness is proven by the gathering of garbage people in comment sections across various platforms. Only the worst of us would take the time to attack me rather than look at themselves. That is a good thing because most people do not make nasty comments or any comments at all. If they're interested, they connect. And then they move on with their lives, continuing to do good things for good people. And at times when they aren't at their best, they take stock of that and learn from it. I enjoy videos all the time without commenting, even though my obsessive nature forces me to leave a like if I watch the entire video as payment of sorts. But I don't comment unless I'm inspired. By the way, I continue to receive the comment that goes, "You aren't ignoring the Trump administration if you're making videos about the Trump administration." Well, I want to thank the garbage people of the internet for helping make day 125 of ignoring the Trump administration possible. I have barely mentioned the leader of the Trump administration or the Trump administration today. You have gotten your way because you got me to not mention the leader of the Trump administration and the Trump administration, or ignoring the Trump administration. Day 126 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. My name's Josh Bloom. I'm just trying to help myself. You gotta love the guy. You gotta love the guy. That's what I heard, and I heard it twice. Who am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about the leader of the Trump administration. Josh, did you fall off a building and crack your head open earlier? Well, no, I did not. But I did walk into a building this morning and I overheard a conversation. They were talking about the leader of the Trump administration and something about a Social Security tax rebate. One of those people in the conversation is the incredibly sweet grandmother who greets me every day when I walk in here and has taken to offering me a leftover egg souffle if they haven't sold them all by the end of breakfast. She is the egg souffle woman, goo goo gajoob. I ate it for dinner last night and I toasted it up in the toaster oven and it was delicious with sour cream and salsa on top. Life is about perspective, baby. They love the guy, and that is their truth. My truth is that their truth is something that we will have to understand as we get through these 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I know we like to say that everyone's in a cult, but this cult member, if she's a cult member, she comes over to me sweet as pie. She greets me every day by name and gives me that leftover egg souffle. She gives me the little box that goes in and a paper bag too. Do I look like someone who is a fan of the leader of the Trump administration? No, I do not. I look like some GAYJEW nerd, which is precisely what I am. I went ahead and looked up this tax rebate just to see if I could prove to myself that these people were insane. It's not a rebate, but it is absolutely something that has been proposed that would allow seniors to take a $4,000 additional deduction on their taxes. That's not a rebate, but it's not a total lie either, and it is enough for two people to say, you gotta love the guy. I don't love the guy, and I don't gotta love the guy. I want to find a guy or a gal or a guy who is a gal or a gal who is a guy that I do love. I really don't care as long as they're a kind person who cares about others. But I guess that is subject to perspective. I know this. If you're a kind person who cares about others, you have to be kind and caring to people who do not ignore the Trump administration. As long as they are kind and caring to you, because you do ignore the Trump administration. Zocat says that's a good point. I usually just respond that I hope it works out for them. Well, I think that is an incredibly reasonable way to handle the situation. If I got into a conversation with the woman who gives me egg souffles, I probably would say something along those same lines and maybe even admire the fact that even though we disagree so much over the leader of the Trump administration, that we do agree on other things in life, and that is what perspective is really about. I do wish the best for her and that things work out for her, but I do not wish for things to work out for the leader of the Trump administration. Day 127 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. I'm just trying to help myself. He has gone absolutely crazy. I don't like it, and it better stop. These are not the lyrics of the Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac's solo classic Go Insane. These are the words of the leader of the Trump administration about Vladimir Putin. How do we know that the leader of the Trump administration didn't agree with Vladimir Putin about this statement before he stated it? I got a little glimpse of the news today, and when I say glimpse, it means I pressed the button on my car stereo to allow me to hear CNN for about 30 seconds before I pulled into the parking lot here at the P. They were nonsensically sane-washing the Trump administration's tweet about how Vladimir Putin better just stop it. How do we not know that the leader of the Trump administration does not consult with the Kremlin on these tweets? Frankly, I feel like I'm given the benefit of the motherfucking doubt because the conversation probably sounds something like, okay, so I'm just going to say you're a little bit crazy just so we can keep on doing what we're doing because at some point we need to look like we're pushing back, but we ain't doing no pushing back. It's just like, oh my God, he is so crazy. Oh my God, the future is hazy. Oh my God, he smells. It's not like a daisy. It's a little bit of a song and dance by the leader of the Trump administration who we know loves to dance with that little double-fisted jerkity jerk. So I have to say here on day 127 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration that you should think this over and think it through. And that is what I would like you to do on Memorial Day because today is supposed to be a day for honoring fallen soldiers. People who have gone into battle and paid the ultimate price for freedoms that are now under assault by the Trump administration and the leader of the Trump administration. Do you think that he cares about the people who died to keep that assault from happening any more than he cares about the assault on women and children in Ukraine? No, he does not. That is why I believe his I don't like it and it better stop statement is as far as the Kremlin will agree to let him go in appearing to push back on their aggression. That is my humble message for you today. Or maybe you prefer how the leader of the Trump administration bizarrely stated in his message on this day of national mourning, Happy Memorial Day. Do not ignore your common sense because if you do not ignore it, you can ignore the Trump administration. Day 128 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. Me, a self-help guru? No, just trying to help myself. Poor youngest son of the leader of the Trump administration, who some call Barron. I know what he's going through. Were your parents assholes? If you grew up in a tumultuous home like I did, or if you are currently growing up in one, you might think to yourself on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, or minute by minute, my parents are assholes. Now, when I saw pictures of my parents who are both dead, and I don't disparage people who can't defend themselves, when I saw those pictures, I didn't say, look at this couple of assholes. I thought to myself, oh, there's me at their age going through the same shit I'm going through now because they went through it then. So I didn't think at their core these people were assholes. I thought at their core these people have become people who behave like assholes because they don't know any other way. And if you, like me, are aware enough of your surroundings and how it is not normal, but you can't do anything about it, you have learned to suffer through it. I got the hell out the day I turned 18 and could legally sign a lease on the most piece of shit apartment I could find. And for once, at least I was in charge of choosing which asshole I was going to allow to treat me like an asshole because all I knew was being treated like an asshole. But now I could decide which asshole treated me like an asshole. That is what we are going through right now with 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration because we are currently living with an asshole parent who we have seen pictures of as a child, and we have seen what he went through to become the asshole he is today. Do you think he's an asshole at his core? Well, that is not for me to judge. I do not know the man, and I am not someone who can understand what an asshole to the core even is, both for the fact that I am not a psychologist and/or psychiatrist, and for the fact that I have not gotten to live under the same roof as the guy. Frankly, I hope that roof changes to some other roof at the end of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. Like the famous Billy Joel song Moving Out says, and no, I am not referring to a heart attack. But what I can say is that his behavior reminds me of how I was treated growing up. And I knew then, as I do know now, that it is something one learns to suffer through. And the moment you can get out, you get the hell out. But for now, we must continue to ignore the Trump administration. Day 129 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. I'm just a donut-eating dude. And I'm just trying to help myself. It is time for spiritual uplift here on day 129 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I just want to break it down slightly so that the situation we're in doesn't seem so overwhelming. We are in the first year of a 4-year final term, and we are more than 33% through that year. Okay? 33% and change. So 50% is right around the bend, and then 100% of year one. Have you ever heard the song 100% by Sonic Youth? I celebrate the band's entire catalog, and you should too. Once we're at 100% of year one, we'll just keep on gliding through to completion. For now, are we still here? Yes, we are. Please let me know you're still here in the comments. I want to hear from you. Are we still on our smartphones? Are we still scrolling and watching cake pop making and espresso brewing videos? Yes, we are. Now, we still encounter the bad news. It is essential to stay informed, but the bad news that we occasionally see, which we can swipe away from at any moment that we like, it's not the same as what the major newspapers and networks try to keep us hooked into with their delivery of doom. That's right. I called it a delivery of doom. I called the mainstream media deliverers of doom because that is how they keep you hooked. We don't want to be hooked. We want to be scrolling past that little bit of information and back into the cake pop making and espresso brewing. I guess you get a good sense of what I'm seeing on my feed because I like cake and coffee. I just ate a donut and, well, I'm also drinking coffee, so I like cake and coffee. Sue me. But even if you did sue me, according to the leader of the Trump administration and the Trump administration, it wouldn't matter. Because when a judge says you have to do something, you don't have to do it anymore. I'm kidding, of course. Now that we realize we are 33% and change through year one of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration, aren't you feeling a little bit better? Good. Consume less news and use that reclaimed time for mindfulness, optimism, and hope for your community. Keep the information boring, keep the coffee boring, and keep on ignoring the Trump administration. Day 130 of 1,461 days of ignoring the Trump administration. I am not a self-help guru. I'm just trying to help myself. Did you hear what a reporter told the leader of the Trump administration about his emerging nickname on Wall Street? He had a very negative response to this yesterday, which is not at all out of the ordinary, but it is out of the ordinary for a reporter to be so bold as to ask a question that embarrasses the leader of the Trump administration to the point that he calls it a very nasty question. The reporter asked if the leader of the Trump administration knew that he is being referred to as Taco. And I don't mean the singer named Taco from 1982 who covered the racist song Puttin' on the Ritz, but isn't that kind of a coincidence? Apparently, financial analysts are embracing a new term called a taco trade. Taco is an acronym for Trump always chickens out, a mocking jab at the leader of the Trump administration's propensity to impose or threaten steep tariffs on imports, only to later back off. Now, this is not about whether or not the leader of the Trump administration is a chicken or not, or whether taco trade is funny or not. I will leave that to others to answer. This is about a bigger picture idea of being unreliable. I know that it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to criticize the leader of the Trump administration and the Trump administration for not being reliable in regard to tariffs. But frankly, if he were to impose tariffs and mean it, at least the people he is supposed to be governing and protecting could make decisions about their lives, specifically about their finances, based on nonsensical but at least reliable decision making. Unfortunately, this is not the case, and it serves as an example of how we should always make it a priority in life to establish trust in our word by backing it up through our behavior. Sadly, for you and me and the rest of the population of the United States of America, we cannot rely on the leader of the Trump administration or the Trump administration to follow through on anything they say they will do or not do. Whether it is good, bad, or indifferent, and when I say good or indifferent, I am being generous because it is always just bad. What do we do when we are constantly presented with what amounts to a whole lot of talk and no action? I think you know how I would answer that question. Say it with me, fellow Americans. Ignore the Trump administration.